my friends! Happy Tuesday and welcome to the Daily Creative Challenges in Adobe Illustrator. My name is Julia Masalska and I'm your host for these 2 weeks. Thanks everyone for joining in the chat. I see a lot of familiar faces. Colby's here, Wade, Megan is here, and Ruben is here. Bruno, say hi everyone in the chat. Let us know that you're here. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know what time it is in your country. Juhi's here too, and Kian, Sherry, Christelle, Nadia, super cool. And Andre is also joining. Yes, we are going to be working on a mock-up today. It's going to be super, super exciting. We're going to mock up a business card for our branding project that we've been working on so hard for the past days. So the purpose of these 2 weeks is for you to have a daily challenge every single day and to learn new skills, to learn new tools in Adobe Illustrator, and to apply this to a branding project that you can use for your freelance work. So by the end of these 2 weeks, I'm planning to publish a project with you guys to kind of, to be able to use your Behance portfolio as a resource, as an online portfolio for your future clients. Hi Felipe, and Simon is here, Noor is here, Henry, so many beautiful faces here. Bridget, Bruno. Wow, Mozambique. Bruno is in Mozambique. I saw there are some crazy fires going on in Africa. I'm so disappointed to have seen that, but it's crazy. I'm hoping you're doing all right. And Biola is here. Cool, awesome. So let's jump right into it. I am going to share with you guys our daily creative challenge page. You can find it on behance.net/challenge/illustrator. Hopefully we'll get the link in the chat. Otherwise, you can go onto the challenge tab. This is where you will find the starter file, and this is where you can join our community chat, which is our Discord channel. You will find it right here. And also, if you are not able to click that link, you can also just use this Discord link to bit.ly/AI Discord. This is where we are sharing all of our work. As you can see, we have some amazing work going on here, and people are working on their branding projects. But if you're new to Illustrator, don't worry. You can still kind of jump in, and you can still learn. You can learn something. So let's get into our let me switch back to your guys' chat so I can read your comments. And Taylor here from LA, super cool. And Stephen is from Birmingham, UK. Noor is saying 2020 is crazy. Yes, 2020 has been so crazy so far. Hopefully the next year will be better. I'm actually losing hope for this year, but let's stay positive. So on our Daily Creative Challenge page, you can also get the starter file by clicking Get Started. And this is where you will be able to open this file that I have created for you guys. As you can see, it already includes an artboard where we are going to be designing the business card. And then there is an artboard where you can mock up this same business card that you have designed. Also, you will find a couple of typefaces that I have provided you guys with that you can feel free to use for your branding. Livermore Script is this top typeface, is really, really great for creating logos. I can literally just, start creating a logo and write Julia's Cookies. And it will already look great. You can totally already use this as a logo, and yeah, it's just a really amazing typeface. And if you're a beginner, it's always cool to work with something, to start with something. So feel free to use this typeface to create your logo. And then I have Acumen Variable Concept for you guys, which is what we are going to be using today for our business card. And feel free to use Gopher, which is the typeface that I'm using for my logo design. Bruno is saying, thanks, Julia Masaska. Let's hope I'll get back to normal soon. Yes, hopefully. And TMN has a question. What's best, trackball or mouse or pen table to draw? I'm only using my trackpad on my laptop. Yeah, so I usually sketch on my iPad. So I do have my iPad where I sketch with my Apple Pencil, just because I love to have something in front of me where I can see what I'm doing. I'm not very used to working with a Wacom where I kind of sketch on the side and I don't really see what I'm doing. I look at the screen. So for me, that gets really confusing. I'm a person who really loves to work on paper. So I do it either on paper. You can also use just a simple pen on a paper, and then you can get the artwork digitalized with Adobe Capture. It's an amazing app that you guys should try. It's available for mobile devices, and you can literally capture your artwork and translate it into vector file, and open it with Illustrator and continue working on that. That's how I also love to work. But I also love using illustration applications like Illustrator on the iPad. That's gonna come out soon, hopefully. So excited about that. And I also love using Fresco. I love using Photoshop for the iPad, and all that cool stuff that we have available on our mobile devices. Cool. All right, my friends. But right now I'm using just a regular mouse. So for a logo design, I mostly use my mouse, and I do go into the vector. By the way, if you want to go into the vector of a typeface, what you have to do is you have to outline a typeface. So clicking Command Shift and O, you will be able to create a vector out of a typeface. So any typeface or any graphic can be translated into a vector. And this is where you can kind of start working on, on the different I would not really recommend modifying a typeface just like that, but this is where you can go ahead and kind of experiment with different parts of your design, right? You can just kind of create different logo, stacked up variations of your logo and so on. So I recommend you guys outlining right away so that you can, go into the vector and experiment. All right, so now let's get started. We have now here the front side of our logo. My logo is a little bit different. My logo is, my brand name is called Glam Up. So I'm just going to copy it and paste my gopher typeface here, and I'm going to write Glam Up. So right now, as you can see, the letters are pretty far apart from each other. The reason for that is because the tracking is set to 110. I love using tracking or high amount of tracking when typing up, text or something, or let's say I would write a little caption underneath my logo or a slogan. That's where I like to use caps, and I like to use a lot of tracking. But when it comes to logos, it needs to be well legible. So here I prefer tracking of 0, and I'm going to Command Shift and O, outline my logo, and I'm going to place it on the front side of my business card. Also, feel free to check out yesterday's challenge where we have been creating patterns. So feel free to use that pattern here in the backside, in the background of your business card. So now what we are going to do is I'm going to write UNISEX Cosmetics, because this is what my branding is all about. This is what I've been working on. It's a UNISEX Cosmetics brand that we have called together Glam Up. So I'm going to make my Glam Up in a darker typeface color. So I'm going into the fill, and I'm double clicking it, and I'm going to select the color somewhere around here. Or I can simply select the color that I have already kind of used for my brand using the eye shortcut for the eyedropper. So I can use the eye and eyedrop basically this color into my logo. Of course, the logo has to be selected. And so now I already kind of have my top side of my card. What I can also do is I can play around with this typeface a little bit. So it's important, guys, that your typefaces are well legible on your print files or in your print designs, because when you print something out, the pixelation sometimes is not perfect. So it's always really useful to select a typeface size that's that's good for what you want. Right now, I think I have prepared this file only for digital publication. We can also look at this file in inches. If I go into the artboard, I believe I can artboard options, let's see, or actually we can just go into our file options here, document setup, and here we can select inches or centimeters depending on where you're from and depending what's easier for you. So now I can see this artboard in inches, and at the moment, as you can see, it's pretty large. So I have not meant this for print yet, so this file is just for online publication. So I have the front side of my card now, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going into the artboard tool, and I'm going to push this a little bit to the side, And of course you have to move artwork with artboard. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to move this to the side holding the shift key so that my artboard just moves horizontally so it doesn't go up and down. And then I'm going to make a copy of this holding Option Shift, and I'm going to make a copy of my card. And now I'm going to design the back side. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to replace my logo, or misplace my logo. I'm going to place it at the top, and I'm going to create a little, like a little box for it so I can reverse the colors of my logo, because now I want to use a darker color as a background and I want to use my logo in a light color. So what I want to do now is I want to use the selection tool, right click, arrange center back. And now, of course, I have this background going on, which I'm going to move right underneath. Or I can just simply remove it if I want to have just a regular, white background. So now I have my glam up in the same color as my background, and I want to make it pop out. So what I want to do is I want to use a very light color here, almost white. So I'm just going to stay in the grayscale, and I'm going to select the color that's almost white. So I can do it like so, and then I can play around with the placement of my objects. Of course, if I want to place a dark object on top of the dark object, I need to select the color that creates a contrast. So here I'm going to increase the typeface size just a little bit, like so, and I'm going to place it on further on the left side. So now I have kind of like this header part going on, and now I want to fill out the information, the necessary information. So I'm going to use our Acumen variable concept for that. So for that, I'm just going to hold Option, click and drag this typeface to my business card, and I'm going to make it with the eyedropper tool. I'm going to make it dark so it's legible on this white typeface, on this white background. So I'm going to increase the size just a little bit. I'm going to set the tracking to 0. And I'm going to make up a name. So we have the, let's say, branch manager, and his name is, what's his name? What is his name supposed to be? Let me know, guys, what you think, what a typical branch manager name is. Cool. Cornell is saying our set is blend mode to difference. Let's see. Words are much better than any book. Yeah, okay. Jeff is saying hello from Rheinland-Pfalz in Germany. Yeah, I lived in Germany for a while. Cool. A comedy drama simply means a good ending. Okay, I see you guys are having internal conversation here. Okay, cool. Okay, all right, so let's just continue. I have a branch manager and I need a name for them. So let's create a name for them, and their name will be Paul. Okay, Paul. Paul. And what about Carr? Tim Carr. John Slater. That's funny. Okay, let's call him Paul Slater. I'll just do a mix-up of your guys' suggestions. And what we're going to do here is what I like to do is I like to use the same typeface, but then play around with different sizes or different, writing things, some things in caps and some things not. So it's going to be Paul Slater, and he's a branch manager. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a hierarchy for the information, right? So Paul Slater is a very important thing to read first, because the name is probably the most important information, and then we'll have his title, and then we'll have their phone number. So I'm going to increase the name of Paul Slater just like so. Actually, I'm going to place all of these things just a little bit closer to the middle, and I can also use my G here as a graphic element. So I'm going to remove all of these things except for the G in my logo. Just like so. We have been also using it yesterday for creating the pattern. So feel free to play around with that here as well. That's kind of cool. I'm kind of liking this because we have a lot of white space and there's nothing really happening here. That's the reason why I'm kind of creating something interesting here to see. Now what I want to do is I'm going to add the phone number. So the phone number, by the way, to create hierarchy of information, you can not only use the size, you can also use the colors. So let's say the secondary information will be a slightly lighter color. So let's pick, instead of this black, let's pick a lighter, like a gray that's a little bit lighter. And as you can see, it's kind of already going into the background and it's creating a pretty good hierarchy here. So he's a branch manager and the phone number is it's just an example phone number, of course, 890. I'm not even sure if that exists, but 345-8945. Okay, so let's say this is their phone number, and then their email address is, by the way, I'm just copying pasting things by holding Option, clicking and dragging it to the bottom. That's kind of so easy to do, and it saves me so much time selecting the typeface, selecting the color, selecting the size. Ashraful saying Jon Snow. I should have done that. My gosh, I love what's it called again? Remind me of the series. So let's write down the phone number, the email address. Sometimes I have like those seconds where something that I definitely should know, like somebody's name, is just simply gone. But it might be just during the stream. You know how weird it is sometimes to sit in front of a camera and you're you have to kind of perform, and then you can't think of things that are so simple. Yeah, Game of Thrones. Thank you. All right, so it's gonna be Paul at glamup.com. There we go. Paul at glamup.com, and the regular website will be www.glamup.com. So now we have these 4 things that I have already kind of set here. Branch manager can even be way smaller because this is not such a essential information, and these 3 things can be even used in a darker tone so that they show up a little bit better. So we have Paul Slater, he's a branch manager, we have the phone number, we have the email address, we have the website. That sounds pretty good. I'm going to push around the pixels just a little bit here. Feel free to kind of still, modify your designs because you're not set on anything. You're just, you're just designing, you're creating variations, you're creating the perfect design, so nothing is set yet. And now I'm going to outline the UNISEX cosmetics with Command Shift and O. Now I'm going to kind of try to adjust it to the center of this rectangle. So I'm going to select UNISEX cosmetics, hold Shift and select the rectangle. And now I'm going to make the rectangle the key object that I'm going to align UNISEX cosmetics to. So I'm simply clicking on it a second time. And now I'm going to go into my align tools and I'm going to vertically align it. So now it's perfectly in the middle. GlamUp is just a little bit more complicated because we have a lot of weight at the bottom here since they're not caps. I'm going to place it kind of, or actually the P kind of creates this bottom here, but if the P would be a B, it would be a little bit more difficult to kind of center align it and make it look as if it's central. But now I can actually align it to UNISEX cosmetics, just like so, and it does look pretty central. Okay, now I have my information here going on. Let's see how it looks if I make those caps, because I feel like that could work better. And I'm going to make those a little bit smaller, just like so. I think that will work way better because the numbers here, they are all on the same height, so it kind of creates a visual line, and that's the same thing I want to do with these things. So that is already pretty well working for me. I'm going to push this just a little bit to the top. Always make sure to leave enough room on the sides. When you're creating the print file, of course, leave a bleed. So your document setup needs to be a little bit more wider than usual, and you need to extend the artwork through the bleed. Okay, so this works pretty well. Let me increase the tracking here just a little bit so it's easier to read, and maybe we can even increase the typeface. Oops. Okay, I think 18 should be good here. It does look pretty small now, so maybe we can go up to 21. Yeah, I think that's better, because you never know what type of people are going to get the card handed, and you know, even people who have bad vision need to be able to read this. So you know, using actually I'm going to use the same size for the branch manager. You know, using a high contrast really helps, and using a clean typeface like this really helps with legibility. Becca G saying Julia's favorite color is black and white, as I guess. No, actually not. I love yellow, as you might know when you follow me on Instagram. I love yellow, but let's get back to work. You guys can use your brand colors for sure. Don't feel shy to use color here. I do have colors here as well, but for now let's keep it simple. So now what we have is we have the front side, we have the back side. Actually, you know what I want to do is I want to reverse the colors in the front side. So what I want to do is Command Shift and O, outline this, create the background in a darker shade, and then select everything else except for the background and use this light gray. That's what I want to do. But you guys, I'm sure you guys are going to use a lot of color, and I'm really excited to see that. So now we have this G kind of looking out of my artboard. What I want to do is I want to mask it. So I'm going to create a rectangle, and I'm going to select the rectangle and the G holding Shift, and I'm going to click Make Clipping Mask. By the way, if you don't see this properties panel here, which is like one of my favorite things in Illustrator, because, or in all the Adobe applications, because as far as I know, all the Adobe applications have the properties panel. So the cool thing about the properties panel is that it shows you only the things you need to know, you need to see for the specific tool you use. To activate it, click on Window and activate properties here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to arrange our cards here in our background. So I'm going to outline everything that I have here, Command Shift and O, and I'm going to group it. So I'm going to select the front side of the card, Command G, and I'm going to select the back side of the card, Command G. And now these are two groups. So whenever I select one of these objects, they're all selected together. That will help us to create a good, interesting scene here. So what I want to do is, actually, let me just copy paste those and not just pull them out completely. So I'm holding Option to kind of create a copy of them, holding Option, and I'm going to make them just a little bit smaller so we can fit a couple more into our artboard. And now that we have outlined all of these things, feel free to create yourself a copy, of course, because sometimes outlining is not the best idea. For me, since now I'm only creating one card, it's all right. But in case you have to create multiple cards for multiple employees, make sure to keep the things editable, not edible, editable. Yeah, so now I'm just going to align it just like so, and I'm going to create a couple copies, or actually we need to create a little shadow here. So I'm going to create a background for this card, creating just a regular rectangle and making it go all around. I'm going to make it white, just like my color that I have used. Right click, arrange, send to back, and we're going to copy this. We're going to select all of this, Command and G, we're going to create a group. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a little effect. We're going to create a little drop shadow for these, but of course you have to be very subtle with the drop shadow. Don't overdo it. It's going to be a very small drop shadow, just like so. I'm not sure how this works in inches. Inches seem to be very harsh here. You guys feel free to create yourself a background as well here, but let's see. Okay, so let's remove this 9 and make it to a 0. I think that will make it a lot better, and only 10%. Okay, whew, so much better. Here this looks a little weird, but let's see what the problem here is. Okay, I think I should have done this only for the background. But you guys feel free to experiment with the drop shadow. Feel free to make it, you know, very subtle, and yeah, try it out. Try out whatever fits. Here you can also feel free to use a background, center back. So now I'm just simply aligning those cards in an angle, and I'm going to create, oops, we have a little ungrouped thing going on here. So I'm going to group this, Command and G, and now I'm going to align those and kind of put them as if they're laying out on the table, as if you guys kind of created a little mock-up, just like so. Make sure to not put too many at once. And now you're going to export this file, and if you go onto File, Export, Export as JPEG, here, JPEG, use artboards, save to desktop, export, RGB is fine. So now we're going into our Discord, and we're posting our work right here in our challenge hashtag. So feel free to do that. Here again is the Discord link, bit.ly/AI Discord. This is where we are posting all of our work. I see there is already some of it. I'm so excited to see your guys' submissions, and so excited for you guys' upcoming projects. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Juan is asking, why doesn't she make a symbol out of each side? I'm not sure what you mean. But yeah, feel free to experiment with your own branding, and I'm really excited to see your guys' submissions. And for the next challenge, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.